Hi, Gene Burnett from GeneBurnett.com. Hey, I want to share with you a way of looking at and practicing Tai Chi that applies to practicing all kinds of things, maybe almost any art that involves the body in any way. But basically, it's a way of practice where you go back and forth between focusing on form and structure and focusing on flow and function, like the function of the movement, whatever that function may be. I found that whatever your art is, or whatever my art is, attention to basics, the basic forms and rules of what you do, really, really beneficial. But only if that attention is not excessive. And how do I know when it's excessive? Well, trial and error, that's how I know. So if I'm missing something in my game, something is just not working out, I'm not interested in micromanaging my forms, either from a Qi perspective or from a Western physiological point of view, even though I sort of believe in the latter more than the former. I'm not talking about micromanaging. Micromanaging form and getting too attached to form has some real detriments. It's beneficial to a certain point. And as I said, how do I know when it's excessive? Well, it's excessive when I can see room for improvement in front of me, but I can't attain it. I can't improve anymore. I've reached the limit of my improvement. Not because I'm perfect. I can see improvement that's possible, but I can't get to it. So if there's something, like say something off in my form, like I'm doing a kick and I'm just losing my balance a little bit, or it doesn't feel comfortable or whatever, if I go back to basics for a while and focus on my foot contact with the ground and strong leg engagement with an aligned knee and hip in particular, and then sit into the crease in my hips, and then really tuck my hips, and then lift my chest up, and then glue my shoulders to my back ribs, and open from there, and make sure my head's aligned on top, all these features, it will almost always make that kick better. The kick will be better. In other words, I don't mean necessarily against another person, but let's just say in this example, I'm just kicking in space, and I'll feel more balanced. I'll feel less forced. I'll feel less uptight, less wobbly, less tippy. The kick will be smoother. It'll, in a sense, be more balanced, more Tai Chi. It would be the equivalent would be like if I was having trouble with my golf swing and I went back to basics and I worked on my foot stance and my placement and my swing and where I draw the thing, and really attend to all the basics, all the stuff that you learn in your first months of learning. That will affect the game, and you'll notice, oh, I can hit the ball a little further, but while you're hitting it, you're thinking about these things. But when you reach a point where you're not improving anymore, you're focused on structure, you're focused on all those basics, but you're not improving, it could be that you've hit the line, because attention to those forms and basics can only take you so far. Those forms and basics and all those principles came from the past. It came from things people noticed back then and are trying to apply to the now, which is its own special moment. You have your own physics, your body's constantly changing, the game you're playing is constantly changing. So when I hit that line, when I know that my attention on structure has improved what I'm doing, but I'm not going any further, that's when I shift my focus to flow and just the quality of the function of the thing that I'm doing. I just focus on doing it. To go back to the golf metaphor, it would be like you've examined all the particulars of your stroke and everything, but now you just go out and just hit the ball and forget about all that stuff. Just work on, I see where I want to hit it there. Go and play the best you can for a while. Just focus on the flow and the function and the sort of the feeling of the thing, because attention to flow and function is beneficial. It's beneficial to your game, also beneficial to your health and well-being, but only if it's not excessive. When it's excessive, it takes away from your structure. You can actually if you have some structural flaw and you're putting a lot of flow and energy into it, you can actually hurt yourself. So how do I know when I focus too much on flow and function and not enough on structure and basics? Well, again, there's a level of improvement that I can see in front of me, but I can't get to it. I'm feeling kind of flowy and nice there, but there's something about it that's not working. I'm a little tippy in my balance, or maybe my joints are a little tender, or maybe there's a tension in my body somewhere, like something doesn't feel right. So when that happens, I think, well, maybe I've hit the wall with that, or hit the line with that kind of focus, so I switch back again. Then I go back to focusing on structure, focusing on form, focusing on the rules, on the basics, what I would call bone level work, putting your skeleton in the right place. And again, it'll improve things, almost always. But I'll reach a ceiling of improvement where I can't get any better with that particular focus. So then I switch over again. So basically, no pun intended, basically going back and forth between basics and form and structure and flow and function. Like, what is the thing? You know, like if I was going to hit a heavy bag and see how hard I could hit it, you know, hit the bag and see how hard I can hit it. Okay, I've got a sense of that. Now I focus on structure and my footwork and my legs and my alignment and making sure everything is point by point delivered the best I can. And then I start hitting with my attention on those things. And chances are I'll notice some improvement. But when I get to the point where I'm not hitting any harder, then I say, okay, forget all that structure ideas in my head. Just do what my body remembers. Just hit the thing as hard as I can. And do that for a little while. And that'll usually improve things too. And then notice how that feels. And then at a point where I'm kind of reached my limit, I go, wait a second, let's go back to basics again, see if there's some little postural point. Because there's got to be a conversation between these forms of the past and this present moment, between abandon and flow into the wholeness of things, but also attention to the particulars and to the basic rules that people have figured out about our bodies and how they move, or our art and how it works. So I don't know if it. I think it applies to dance, to any sport, to calligraphy, to any kind of art or painting or anything like that. If you let your attention go back and forth between the structure and basic rules of your art and the abandoned, full feeling flow of it, you can really improve your game over time by going back and forth. But you have to let go of a certain amount of ego to go back to basics. You have to be willing to, after 30 years of studying something, go back. If you're doing tango, go back to your walk. If you're doing Tai Chi, back to your basic steps and footwork and placement on the ground. If you're doing, one of the sports, just basics of just, volleying or serving a tennis ball, whatever it is, you have to be humble and realize that even though you're accomplished, you can still use some work on those basics, and those basics will correct something and it'll mean something different this time around, and you have a different body this time, and time has changed, partners change, things change. So I think that you can approach the present moment, the present living moment, more and more and more if you don't get too attached to form and structure, but don't abandon them. Don't get too attached to just flow and immersion, but don't abandon it either. Find a balance between the two. And my balance is to focus on one, and then let go of that focus on the other. Let go of that focus on the other, and let them speak to each other in my practice, in my game. So. Yeah, just encouraging you to maybe try that out and see if it works for you. If you like this kind of thing, subscribe to my channel. I don't have ads on this channel. Probably never will. I'm not trying to be big. I'm just trying to be helpful. So if it's helped you out in any way and you feel like giving me a tip or a donation, I have a little PayPal me link down below. And you could also visit GeneBurnett.com for more about me and what I do. And thanks for watching.